All right, our next story here comes from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for telling my daughter she has to understand that choosing this wedding date would result in my family not going? Telling my daughter. Wowza. 2-ish years ago, my brother, my nephew, and my mother were in a car accident. My mother died instantly, and my brother and nephew passed away the next day. Holy crap, that's a heavy way to start. My family was small. Me, my husband, daughter, parents, brother, wife, and 2 nephews. Their loss was devastating for my life and everyone, and it was even worse for my father and my sister-in-law. 1 year ago, my daughter, Betty, 25, was proposed to by her fiancé and preparations began. During this process, they chose the date based on the day they met 7 years ago, and that day is exactly 2 years since the death of my brother and nephew. I tried to talk to her about moving the date because it's still a very difficult date for our family and even for myself, but she insisted, saying that the venue had that date available and it would be perfect because all the other available dates don't work and they wouldn't be as important. I respected her decision. Recently, she sent the invitations to everyone, and as I predicted, my sister-in-law, my nephew, 24 male, and my father responded that they would not attend. Although they did not tell her, my father and sister-in-law told me that the date choice was taken as an offense to them. I decided to remain neutral, and I confirmed that my husband and I would attend. Today, my daughter called me unhappy that no one but us confirmed my husband doesn't have family on his side, and her family side would be empty, and she expected everyone to go on that date, even more so after she explained the reason to them about the date, but they still refused. I tried to be supportive, but I said, Love, this date is difficult even for me, but I will go to your wedding, but you have to understand that this choice of date had this consequence, and you would have to deal with the consequences of your choices. She exploded at me, saying that everyone was against her. It's not her fault that the dates coincided and everyone could make an effort to go a few hours for her, but they decided to just not go, and I was basically saying, I told you so. She hung up without me answering, and we still haven't spoken. My husband said he understood me, but I should have stayed away from it. Am I the astronaut? How are you going to stay away from it? How the hell are you going to avoid this problem? There's no staying away from it, hubby. There's no avoiding this, beating around the bush. You are the direct link between the family and the daughter here. And you did warn her. It's another NTA. You warned her what would happen, and she did it anyway. Come what may. If you know what the consequences are going to be. I think she obviously expected everybody to just change their mind and be like, oh, well, yeah, it's a wedding. I mean, that would trump it. But it was disrespectful. It was disrespectful. In a perfect world, the anniversaries of tragic events wouldn't cloud people's minds and override that day, override everything else on that day, right? It was 2-ish years ago, though. I mean, you got to be respectful of giving people some time. It's not okay. And what she basically said by choosing this, knowing the consequences, because mom warned her ahead of time, was my wedding is more important than their deaths. Eek. That's not cool. And people took offense to it. But she was warned. I think the fact that she still went through with it, and I get it. Like they had limited choices for dates. I get it. But that date wasn't a choice. And this is why. Change the date, girly. Change it. That's it. That's the solution here. Find a different date, daughter. It's it. And mom, OP, in your position here, I think it would be in your best interest to try to present a solution to this problem, to be like, look, if you chose a different date, the whole family would be there. You've got some apologies to make now for trying to choose this date and trying to cram it down everyone's throat and essentially saying that your wedding is more important than the anniversary of their deaths. Not cool. Apologize, pick a different date, and everyone can be happy. That's it, right? That's the only solution here. I mean, I understand why she chose what she chose, because when you're trying to plan a wedding and you're dealing with venues, there's limited dates available, which is another reason that I think Candy Thunder and I went the right route and threw it together ourselves and used a clear tent on her parents' property, and we just did the grassroots approach and freaking loved every second of it. It was amazing. Dealing with vendors and that kind of crap, that stuff just gets complicated and dates become complicated. I understand that they saw this date and they were like, oh, we could choose that and it would be an anniversary of when we first met or whatever. But it's another anniversary too. And that while that date might be important to her, there's a more important event for that date that happened to other people. The family that she's expecting to fill in her side. She's being unreasonable. Where would you put daughter on the scale here? I mean, it's at least a 2. Did she get into 1? Does she get into ask on 1 evil territory? Is this evil? Is it truly just vile? Got some twos and ones. Ah, man, I don't know if it's evil. It's selfish, that's for damn sure, and selfish to the detriment of other people, and then relying on those other people. There's definitely a huge dose of entitlement here. How old is she? She's 25, and I think we do have to consider that a little bit here. She's 25. I think there are some things that you gain with wisdom as you go, and I don't think it was evil. I think it was selfish. It was entitled. Those are a lot of bad things, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she's going to choose a solution path here, and that she isn't an evil person. She was just too clouded by her own wedding. And if anything can unveil the selfishness of someone, it's a freaking wedding and having kids. And I mean, there are a lot of things that can reveal to yourself how selfish you are. A wedding is the thing that can reveal to everyone else how selfish you are. She should know better. I agree. She may be in between a 2 and a 1 here. I'm giving her a 2 because I don't think she's evil. And I think there can be some redemption here. I hope it is. You know, well, keep this in mind too. I think kids, even 25-year-old kids, are going to be the most unfiltered when they're talking to their parents because they feel safest talking to them, right? So the way that she talked to her mom about not being understanding of that date, I don't think she would talk that way to anybody else. I hope not. And hopefully she has some time to let this ferment and to understand. Yeah, this is one of those areas where we're all going to have some different opinions here. To me, I'm giving her a 2 because I'm trying to give her a little bit of redemption, a little bit of window of light to open up and to walk through there, and hoping that she chooses correctly. And I think it is much easier to come back from a 2 than it is a 1.